Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and today I am joined by a special guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ren.
So Ren is a friend of mine, an amateur bio queen, also runs her own theater company here in Denver.
Audacious Theater?
Yeah, Audacious Theater. So, I invited Ren on to talk about the Birdcage today. So, it's June, and if you know, June is Pride Month. So, all throughout the month of June, I'm going to be reviewing big, impactful, monumental LGBTQIA++ films that
all the letters.
all of the letters that I have not yet reviewed here on my channel. So any of the recent ones aren't going to be mentioned in this month's reviews, but we have a lot of really fun classics to get through. So, Ren here.
Yeah.
Tell us your relationship with the Birdcage.
So the Birdcage is literally my favorite movie ever. I could literally watch it over and over and over again and never stop laughing. I can't remember. I think the first time I watched it was maybe when it came out on video when it first came out, and I was like one of those little kids that would like go downstairs and just watch the movie over and over and over again the next morning after we watched it as a family. And I think it probably was a huge influence in my like really passionate fascination with drag. I realized that after the fact when I was like, why am I so into Drag Race? This is amazing. I love this. So, between the Birdcage and Wong Fu and Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, I think those are pretty influential on me and my my fascination, not just with drag, but with makeup in general.
Yes, and those other films she mentioned are coming up later this month, so make sure you look out. But
classics.
So Ren here is a little bit older than I am. So she was alive when this was like out in theaters and able to probably see it in the movies, so she has a little bit more experience when it comes to the Birdcage than I do and its cultural impact. But in all seriousness, Ren is like my real life go-to drag film expert. She's seen like all
the drag films. If there's a drag
she knows
film,
them all.
I'm gonna watch it. Yeah.
And she's pretty good at just LGBTQ films, period. She's pretty on it. Even the ones she doesn't necessarily love, some of the newer films as much as I do, she still sees them all.
Yes,
so.
Film nerd.
Yes, so it's going to be hard to be objective with this one when we're reviewing it overall, because it's just awesome.
It's the best.
And if you don't know...
That's my review. It's the best.
Yes, and if you don't know, this is still the highest grossing worldwide LGBTQIA
I didn't know that.
Almost $200 million worldwide. So,
that's awesome.
Go. Even the big wide release of like Love, Simon couldn't top the Birdcage this year so far. So... You go.
The
Nathan
box
Lane.
office power of Nathan Lane and Robin Williams and Gene Hackman and Diane Weiss and Hank Azaria.
Yes.
Yeah, like that cast alone is enough to make it just the most amazing film.
The second time that good old Robin Williams was up in a drag-ish film with Miss Doubtfire earlier.
yeah, which is
not
like...
really LGBT, but drag.
Yeah, it's drag, but it was like, this is probably really unhealthy for your children.
Yeah, there's some other issues going on here.
In retrospect, kind of gross, but we love Robin Williams.
We love Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have, I don't think he was necessarily out when the film came out or not, but it was nice to have
I don't think so.
An actual gay male in one of these films as a lead and able to be his big flamboyant self with Nathan Lane. I think he came out a couple years afterward, but still, it's nice to have actual representation on screen with the film's topics.
Yeah.
So, let's go ahead and jump into what this film does right. So
everything. So I think, so I know that it's, first of all, it's based on this play called La Cage aux Folles. And I'm a theater nerd, so that's really important to know. But it's a farce, and that's the whole idea, is it's just a comedy of errors, just back and forth. And I think that is what I love the most about it, is just the way that everything spirals forward and the way that everybody freaks out. There's a scene in the kitchen when they've reached the like climax of the entire thing, and they're all yelling at each other, and Hank Azaria is crying in the corner, and he's yelling at him, stop crying, and gets up, goes out, falls down. It's like, it's the fact that the comedy layers so well on top of itself. You're laughing at one thing, and then something else happens, and then you start laughing even harder, and so it builds really, really well. So I think it's a combination of the, it's a fairly simplistic storyline, but it's just the farce nature of it, where it's just that one thing on top of the other, building up the comedy level of the entire thing.
It's just such a funny movie.
Yeah, it's like, I like I said, I've probably seen it at least 20 times, and I watched it again last week and laughed, like, just died laughing.
It's like the funnest homework ever, right?
Yeah, it's the best. Yeah, totally.
I think that's like the number one test, though. If you want to call your film a comedy, it has to be funny.
Yeah.
So, obviously, especially when you have the expectation, you have Robin Williams and Nathan Lane in the lead,
and
it lives up to it.
I think that this is also, like, you know, the epitome of Robin Williams' comedy career. This is just him at his best. You know, he's perfect with that comedic timing. I think one of my favorite segments in film history is the one where they're learning the new show with Starina, and there's the guy on the floor and he's chewing the gum, and she, you know, he says, why he's chewing gum while I'm singing. It helps me think, sweetie, you're wasting your gum. But that whole scene is just, it just all is encapsulated all together when Robin Williams does that amazing, no, you don't just stand there. You do an eclectic celebration of dance. You do fussy, Twilight, Madonna, Michael Kidd, but you keep it all inside. I think the other thing that Robin Williams in particular is really good at as far as comedy goes is keeping that energy up and holding it inside of himself, even though you can see it's trying to burst out. And I think that's part of what keeps it moving forward. The whole movie just sort of has this perfect pacing of, like, starts out, you know, with this very slow sort of scene where you're like, what's going on? We don't know. What's with this guy? And then from there, it just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds and builds and builds.
Yeah, and it's really great because Robin Williams gets to kind of play the straight man in this movie, where everything else in the 90s, he was quite clearly the over-the-top, the big character. And in this film, he still gets a lot of laughs being the straight man, being like Nathan Lane's person to bounce off of. He gets so many laughs himself. And then we get over to Nathan Lane, who is just everything.
Yeah,
in this movie
oh my God,
me.
Nathan
just
Lane
everything.
is everything. And the thing that I think is also really interesting about it is that his style of drag in that film is really different. It's not, it's the, I think you called it baby drag.
Yeah.
Where he's still...
Like what I have going on right here.
Yeah. He's still very much himself. There's not as much of the makeup focused on it. It's all about his character, the Starina character. And he's, like, clearly just this really talented performer who's hilarious and everybody just loves him.
Yeah, right off the bat, too. That first scene is just
oh my God,
and legendary.
yes!
And you get the...
Look what you... I was young once!
It's just perfect.
But I gave my youth away to him. Now I'm this short, fat, insecure thing. I made you short? Oh. Yeah, that scene's amazing. And then the line that I always quote is the, don't look at me that way. Don't talk to me with that tone. What tone? That tone that says that you know everything because you're a man and I know nothing because I'm a woman. You're not a woman. You bastard! Yeah, like, and that's another one of those things that I think the movie does really well is right off the bat you have this hilarious scene. You know, like there isn't that waiting for something to it's just right immediately, just hilarious.
And it quickly develops the dynamic of the characters immediately. So it makes you laugh. It shows you who we're dealing with here. Shows you the character arc of what we're getting ourselves into. Yeah. And it all works so good.
Yeah, it shows the stakes with that specific Starina Albert character right off the bat. This is a very dramatic person, and no matter what he does, you know, and one of the things I really noticed at the very beginning is he's saying, Albert is saying, oh, I'm fat and pathetic, and you see Robin Williams' character mouth the words that he's saying as if, like, so it's very clear that this is the way he always is. Like, it's just
part of the magic.
Yeah. He just knows. And and that's what it is. It's always these little nuggets constantly throughout the whole film, little tiny nuggets of things that fill out who the characters are and make them real. Like, for instance, there's the point in the film where he finally agrees to have this farce or whatever to basically like pretend to not be who they are, and his son says thank you, and he says, just don't talk to me for a little while. And it's this moment of sincerity that made it more acceptable in like a 2018 sort of sense to be okay with the fact that this, I mean, like, so watching it again as in 2018, it was kind of weird to see Val asking his parents to pretend not to be who they are, and trying to hide who he is for the sake of this conservatism. And then, and the fact that at any point they consider doing it is like very weird to imagine in 2018, but then having that moment of him just saying, just don't talk to me for a little while, makes you kind of understand, like, I'm upset about this, and he doesn't want to do it, but he's doing it for Val for whatever reasons that he's sort of established to do that. And again, I think that it's just everything really fills out these characters, and it does such a good job. Like, you even learning about the Agador Spartacus, the maid, the Hank Azaria character, like, so much about him. His mother and father were the shaman and shamaness of his tribe that they moved here to get a career, and he wants to become a drag queen. Like, so much about these characters, and it's hilarious the entire way that they're teaching you about them.
And I think this was a great showcase for the dramatic acting skills of, as we said, Robin Williams, certainly.
Oh, yeah.
I think he dabbled in it a little bit in his other 90s comedies, but indication of it. But
are allowed to spoil things in this movie?
Yeah,
it's 20 years old.
This is mid-90s.
So, so speaking of, like, those serious moments, I think there's, like, two of these really beautiful moments. There's the one where he says that Albert is still going to come to dinner, and he says, "Why'd you do that?" And he said, "Because he's my friend and companion, and he told me that his heart was breaking." And I was like, "Oh, that's a killer." And then when they sign the palimony agreement, and he is like, "What does it matter if it's yours? If you say that I can stay, or I say that you can stay, there's only one place that I can call home, and it's because you're there." It's like, oh God, relationship goals. Because I'm not going to pretend I'm not a very dramatic person, so it's really nice to know that there's, like, just these people out there that'll love you throughout your entire ridiculousness because you're an Albert and you're still a wonderful, good human being.
Yeah, so I think it was a great film that balanced the comedy and the dramatics.
Yeah.
I think we haven't touched on any of the background characters other than Hank Azaria's character.
Which
but
I love.
They are all fantastic.
They're amazing.
All of them bring so much to the screen.
Every single person has these amazing moments. Yes. I forget almost every time I watch it. Oh yeah, that's right. Diane Weiss is in this, and she's amazing.
She's so good.
She walks into their monastery of an apartment and goes, "Oh, I really like the decor. It's severe." Like, she just kills it. He has that moment where she starts crying. Somebody has to like me best. And she just perfectly encapsulates that, like, stifled, conservative wife.
Yes.
And Gene Hackman, I think, is just like a perfect Rush Limbaugh sort of substitute. Yeah.
And I think you always have that feeling of her, like, secretly liking it. Like, she portrays it even as she realizes, and they go into the club at the end and have to dress up in drag. There's, like, this secret like that she has of wanting to, like, okay.
Yep.
And, of course, Gene Hackman repressing himself into, secretly falling in, like, this crush with this drag queen. This, like, ridiculous drag queen entire dinner.
Yeah, he's clearly a man. He's clearly in drag, which I think is probably one of the funniest things, is that they just make Gene Hackman's character so absolutely out of touch with the possibility of any of this that he just does not see it at all.
Like, he finds them more funny and, like, weird, and is, like, catching on to the gayness before the drag queen comes out. And then once the drag queen comes out, he's just like, oh, no, this is a completely normal, beautiful household.
Yes.
This is the ideal family image right here. It's just, like, so fantastic.
Yeah. I don't like Val or the daughter very much. I never
They're
really
definitely the most bland of all of the characters.
Yeah, and again, like, from that 2018 perspective and just sort of growing up enough, there's the fact that they're at 18, not even 18 and 20 getting married, which they repeat over and over again, but no, like, for real, that's stupid. And just, he does kind of mention it, how many lives do you have to ruin to get married, and so I think those are all reasons that those characters are not as likable for me, because the two of them don't show a whole lot of compassion for anyone around them. It really is very much all about them. They're not particularly funny, so those characters they're really kind of like foils more than anything else. They're
just
not
kind of there.
They're basically the catalyst for everything else to happen. Yeah, because this story is it's about the parents. It's about It is not about this boy, this ingenue, and this young hero. No, it is about the parents and how they interact and how the farce goes through.
And they don't even really get nice moments even. Like, it's like, usually, at least if you're going to be that foil, or there's never that realization moment.
Yeah.
It just kind of all unfolds right before there was. I mean, I guess she kind of is the one who's like, okay, we need to stop. This is what's actually happening, Mom and Dad. So she kind of has a redemption moment of like,
finally comes.
You know what? This is ridiculous.
To the front of it,
but he like literally never does.
Yeah.
Like, even to the point of before the dinner taking his mom's call and just being like, oh yeah, keep coming, come on, we're still expecting you. And it's like, like, it's like,
and I think that was my big like weird moment of like, he answers it, he's like, no, come, and then he hangs up and he says, no, don't bother trying to call her back, she's in the car. And I was like, she's got a car phone, you can still call her back.
She literally just called from
the
phone.
So I felt a little bit to me like it was maybe that was something that was supposed to be deceptive on his part, that he was just kind of like lying about the fact that he could call back. It's also kind of silly too, because he basically ruined the entire thing by not stopping Christine from coming in. Christine's not her name. Christine Baranski is the actress.
No, Christine is who also in her little role. She's everything in everything she's in. Yeah. So, you know,
I mean,
is no exception.
The Grinch is the best, I think. But she's amazing in this one as well. Even though she's very, very minor. Yeah. But you just get a really good sense of her, and
I guess that's a negative. Is that I wish we had even a little bit of interactions with her. Some interactions between her and Nathan Lane would have been nice. Just because you saw it in that waiting room while he's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so uncomfortable. I hate this woman. I'm jealous. It would have been nice to get like a fun little interaction with them, maybe even at the dinner. It might have even added to the like supposed affair going on in Gene Hackman's mind. Him thinking that it was just all an affair. It would have been nice to maybe get like a little one-off between the two as it happened. But you know.
This is an innocent girl from Grover's Corner. His European ways.
And then I love the scene with like...
Oh, John Wayne.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yes. Go ahead. Spread jelly on the toast. Put the pinky down.
I missed the toast.
It's okay if you praise the toast. All you have to do is remember not to go to pieces when that happens. You're right.
And then I just love the like old woman in the back. You like
who? Fun fact is actually the mother of Mike Nichols, who's the director of the film.
Because clearly they come here often because the waiter is like very up on the know. And you just have this old woman in the back like just observing, like kind of sorting it out as they go through. Like okay,
that scene is amazing. And then the last little moment. It's like a callback to that scene where he's doing the John Wayne walk, and he's like, first he does his regular walk and he goes too swishy, and then he does the John Wayne walk and he's like too much.
When he comes out in the suit.
When it comes out, that is like I'm so glad I watched it again and was reminded of how funny it is for something like that to continue forever, where he goes to sit down and puts his foot up and then moves it and then goes to lean and then falls and then moves and then puts himself and then does this, like it just keeps going. Again, it's that perfect level of comedy where it just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, and by the end of it you're like dying and can barely breathe. And
you have, again, it just goes kind of to a testament of obviously the directors and writers, but also definitely Robin Williams and Nathan Lane, because they really sell all of any type of improv that needed to happen. They sold it. All of this like physical comedy is from them, and they sell it so perfectly well.
Also, props have to go to Hank Azaria, who was killing it in the physical comedy. As soon as, it's him dancing around, which is funny, in his Lucy and Ricky combination outfit.
Him not able to wear shoes.
And then as soon as he puts the shoes on, so the whole dinner, he's got the I can't walk in shoes thing. Perfect. And there's multiple times where he's walking and just falls, and it's like, the pratfalls are like a key part to comedy, and I think that's again like part of this. The genius of this film is that it takes all of the different things about a good comedy and just puts them all together, and they're amazing. Yeah.
And I think especially for a mid-90s movie when we're
Yeah.
still like coming off of the weirdness of the suppressed 80s, but moving forward from that, being able to put so much commentary into the film, while still delivering a very drag,
and it even like touched
positive
on
film,
race just a little bit, right? Because they have the Senator Jackson who's are you ready for this? Ready for what? Senator Jackson's dead. He died in bed. Whose bed? A prostitute? Underage? And black? Oh, God!
Or even like the neighborhoods, when they're driving up to the neighborhoods, it's all about like the whose neighborhood is this now type thing. With the relationships, like, oh, okay.
This was all sand. It was mostly Jewish, like all
that
stuff. Yeah. Well, and there's that little bit of racism too, right? Because they have the Coleman versus Goldman. Like they don't want to let them know that they're Jewish, and I think that's something that it gets overlooked a little bit nowadays.
Yes.
Is that we're very focused on the people of color, but there's still a lot of oppression that goes on for Jewish people.
Yeah, they really touch on it really well in this film in small ways. Obviously, it wasn't the main focus, but
now that being said, it would be awesome to have had like any people of color in the film at all.
Other than Hank Azaria.
Yeah. Also, I don't even know if Hank Azaria is actually a person of color.
Like I don't think he's not. What was he in the movie?
Guatemalan.
You're
afraid of my Guatemalanness. My Guatemalanness, my natural heat.
And that was another commentary, is that you noticed all of the background, like, servants were people of color.
Yeah, totally.
Even the people, like, hanging the pictures when they bring them in.
Yeah.
That's, like, the only black person I remember seeing is, like, that guy helping to, like, put up the decorations.
Yeah, do you like it? The giant moose head? Yeah, that's it. And it was nice because they did have a drag, the drag queens were all multicultural.
Yes, and even performed, like, numbers that kind of represented that, which were cool.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, there was no main characters who were of color, so, and it probably would have, I mean, Hank Azaria is amazing, but I think that would have been a perfect place to have a person of color. At the same time, having the only person who's like an employee be the only person of color is also like, so it's all, it was the 90s.
Yeah,
film from the 90s.
This is definitely a 2018 point of view. If
Yeah.
they were to make this these days, we would definitely
we'd hold
push
them to a lot
that way.
higher bar.
But just
they're
getting
fine.
this film, making this much money, revolving around a gay couple and a drag queen.
And acceptance. And that's like the whole thing at the end, that it ends with acceptance. And that's, I think, one of the most beautiful parts about the whole film.
And it's definitely about coming together as a family, period.
Yeah.
So that it's about putting all of it aside for both sides, both families, parent groups, putting aside what it is that they've perceived through the other one.
Yeah.
For the kids, I guess, in the final bits of it.
Yeah.
We've helped you out. We're helping you get out of here. We're helping you go back to your conservative political run without too much damage, if we can help you.
Yeah. And then the wedding at the end, they've got both the Catholic minister and the Jewish rabbi marrying them, which I guess he was a Christian minister, and I don't know if they were Catholic, but.
And they even have like the two separate sides. You have all of the like ridiculous folks in the crowd, and then the like conservative, like stuffy, like, oh, okay. Yeah. You're gonna have to deal with this. This is just what's gonna have to happen.
Now, I have to say, totally unrelated note, because we were talking about things that the movie does well that I hadn't really thought about. It's visually stunning. Oh. It is so well done. Like that first opening shot, the establishing shot of Miami, that alone is just a killer. And then it travels through, it tracks them all the way through. But like the costumes are amazing, and just every single shot is so well composed, and they do such a good job. Just the difference between their apartment that's theirs where they live, and then like how they transform it and what it becomes is so well done. And so it's another thing that, on top of the fact that it's a really great comedy, it's also really
just a well done film.
A well done movie, all around. Like
cinematography, the script is really
Mike
great.
Nichols, man, killing it, that guy. Killing it, that guy. And as far as we know, didn't rape anybody or force anybody to sleep with anybody against their will.
Yeah.
So yay.
Woo, yay!
We can still like all his films.
I think it's super interesting, having like two people who played Disney sidekicks right around the exact same time that this came out, a little bit before, with Robin Williams and Nathan Lane.
Oh, yeah.
Coming off of their Disney gigs to go ahead and,
the genie.
to go ahead and do this film. It's really great because they're both just, they're comic geniuses, both of them.
Yeah.
And I think Nathan Lane doesn't quite get his due in the cinema world, in the theater world, certainly.
Yeah, he's big on Broadway. Yeah,
I was like,
everything.
Even everything he's done in film, even in bad movies that he's been in, because he's been in quite a few bad movies, he's still great.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, he's so good. And Hank Azaria is so good at voice. He does all the voices on The Simpsons. I haven't seen him in things in a lot recently, but it's so good.
Godzilla really did a number on his live action career.
Yeah, that'll do it, man.
I mean, ask Matthew Broderick too. He had a hard time coming back from that. A lot of subpar films post Godzilla for everyone involved.
Yeah, right? And what does close to Flockhart do anymore? Nothing. She's just
exactly.
Harrison Ford's wife. That's what she does.
Yay.
Ooh, and I don't even know that Val guy. I think he was like on a TV show for a little while, but other than that, nah. Now Robin Williams, he was killing it up to the very end. But this was the movie that I chose to watch when I heard about his death. I was really, really upset. I think that Robin Williams was a celebrity death that I is the only celebrity death of, death of a person that I don't know personally, that I actually had like a legitimate emotional reaction to it.
Yeah.
And I think that this movie is part of that. Is that he was so much a part of my formative years and me falling in love with film and acting and comedy, that to lose him it felt like a relative had died. He was like this warm uncle that you always saw in the movies that you loved.
Relationship, obviously, with the drag community as well, through films like this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think
that are big parts of your life now.
Yeah. So I think it's a pretty formative film for me, and Robin Williams is a formative actor for me. Yeah. So I think it really brings together a lot of the things that I love, and just is a big part of my life. Even watching it again, I was like, oh, look at them, they're doing a little musical number, they're doing like a little dance, I love this. And it's, I'm a sucker for a theater joke. Anytime a theater joke comes on, I cannot help but enjoy it. So yeah, I think this movie was just, and I'm bi, but I'm not, it's not like but it also, even in a way, kind of made me, they have little bio queens, right? They like make the Diane Wiest and Callista Flockhart into little bio queens. But I mean, I think one of the interesting things about the drag community in general is that a lot of what they talk about is these ideas of like art and inclusion and exploring and finding yourself and who you are. And I think that that's something that is like a bio queen you can just as easily identify with and enjoy the art of it and the color of it and all of that, But back to the Birdcage, it's the best.
It's everything.
It's just so good. I could probably just talk about it forever because it's my favorite film. It's the movie that whenever I meet a new person and I start to become really good friends with them, I'm like, have you seen the Birdcage? And then when they haven't seen it, I'm like, we will sit down and watch the Birdcage now. Yes, we will do this immediately. Yeah, so that's what I did with on Monday. I was like, for the friend of mine, I was like, have you seen the Birdcage yet? Okay, great. You can watch it with me because I need to watch it again, and it's important for you to see it because it's the best.
It's amazing.
And yeah, he had never. I think he said he had seen it like when it first came out, maybe like 20 years ago, when in the movies, and hadn't seen it since, and rewatched it again and was like, oh my god, that movie's so amazing. And it's also one of those movies that like sticks with you. Like after you see it, you just keep replaying portions of it over and over again in your head because it's so entertaining.
It's so entertaining. It's so quotable.
Yeah, so quotable. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to open up the month with the Birdcage for this little Pride series of reviews, because again, it is still the biggest grossing one all of these years later, over 20 years later, and nothing has broken it, including with inflation. So, I mean, that's quite the feat there.
That's amazing.
And I think it made such a cultural impact. We both love this film. It's definitely one of my favorite comedies of all time, certainly.
Yeah. And watch it again and again and
so
again.
If you have not seen The Birdcage yet, go watch it.
Yeah, what are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for?
Did you watch this whole review and not already start watching it? Because that's ridiculous.
Come on. What's going on?
Yeah.
If you have seen The Birdcage before, watch it again.
Yeah, like I said, you can literally watch it again and again and again and again.
Also, if you have seen The Birdcage, let us know what you think of this film, either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. Ren doesn't do that.
I don't
Twitter
believe in
business.
Twitter. I am on Instagram though, RennyPoo13.
Yeah, let us know where can we find you across the interwebs.
You can find me on RennyPoo13 on Instagram. I post all my makeup, my bio makeup, and also you can visit my website for my theater company, www.audacioustheater.com, because I'm an old person and I put the triple W's before things still.
Also, make sure that you are looking up Audacious Theater on Facebook. You all have Instagram as well, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so like both
Like
of those
all the
pages.
things. We're going to actually be doing a show for Pride here in Denver. So if you're local, come out and check it out. We're doing a transcendental, non-binary journey. So come and see it.
Yes. So make sure you check out their shows. Make sure you check out her personal Instagram. She posts lots of makeup pictures, and who wouldn't want to look at this beautiful face? Also, make sure you follow me at LC Screen Talk over on Twitter, Instagram. Obviously, you're watching this video right now, so make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. So, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about
having
the
me.
Birdcage.
Yeah.
Of course.
We can talk about it forever and ever and ever.
And thank all of you for watching and for your continued support. I love you all so much. Mwah! Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!